Okay guys, moving on from that, what are we going to work on now? We're going to talk on beliefs. Beliefs is an interesting one. Interesting by the way that we all have our beliefs, and by the way, our beliefs are only our beliefs, they're not necessarily facts. We just think they're facts. They're facts to us, but they're not facts out in the real world. To prove that point, nobody here still believes in Santa, I hope? No, that's good. Santa, at 5 years old for me, I don't know about you guys, but at the end of the day, for most people in Australia, Santa as a child is so real and so much a part of our belief system. That's why we are. However, who in the room used to believe in Santa but doesn't believe in Santa today? Yeah, exactly. Okay, some of you still do. Anyway, that's okay. So, but the point I'm getting at is, I believed in Santa, and many of you might have believed in Santa at 5 years old, 6 years old, 10 years old, whatever. Someone over here smiling and you still believe in Santa at 35. That's okay. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is, when we believed in Santa, that belief was so real to us. If you were at home, at 5 years old or 6 years as a child, watching TV or whatever, and your mother came and said, Santa's at the door, you would jump up, race out, knock everybody over, race to the door, Santa's here, Santa's here. You believe that. You don't believe that anymore. What happened? What has happened is, that was a belief and it was a fact, yet it's not. So I'm proving the point here. A fact has now become a concept. You still have the concept of Santa, but now your belief is that Santa doesn't exist. So it's still a concept, but it's not a belief anymore. So you understand where I'm coming from. Beliefs are actually your own beliefs. That doesn't make them a fact. What else have we got here? I'll just mention a couple. I was only going to spend 5 or so minutes on this. Religion's a very interesting one, because I'm coming from a Christian background. People say, I often get into trouble when I talk to pastors and that sort of stuff over the years, and I've said, well, your beliefs, the beliefs of the Bible you read is not a fact. And they will always argue with me. So hopefully any of you guys are Christians, let me finish what I'm going to say before you jump up and down and get upset. They will always argue with me when they say, yes, it is a fact, it is a fact. I said, no, it's not. It is a fact to you, and it may be a fact in reality. However, at the moment, it's a fact to you, and it's because it's your belief system. To prove the point, you follow that Bible and you believe it with everything in you, and it is a fact, but it's actually your belief. It may be a fact, because I challenge you, if you were brought up in a Muslim family and followed the Quran, you would fight for the beliefs of that Quran and believe that is a fact as much as you do believe the Bible is a fact. It's based on your upbringing that creates the belief, that creates the fact. Now, I don't want to get into upsetting anybody, but for a Muslim following the Quran, that is a fact. It is their belief system. For a Christian following the Bible, that is a fact. It is their belief system. So they are both beliefs, but they can change. They're a fact today, but sometimes you see Christians that convert to Islam. What they used to believe, they no longer believe, and vice versa. Islam people that can convert to Christianity. What they used to believe, they no longer believe, they believe something else. So the fact actually changed when the belief changed. Does that make sense? So the other one, I'll just mention one here. I remember I did as a bit of a story here, I did some training centers, training events, like weekend retreats and weekend events many years ago now. Probably 15, nearly 20 years ago now, I did some training events when we had a block of land up in Brisbane, and it's a 40-acre block of land. I used to take some of the guys there, and we'd do some training. We'd stay overnight, we'd camp for the weekend, and we'd do a whole weekend of very solid training. And this night, I remember, I wanted to challenge everyone's belief systems and prove that how powerful their beliefs are. So what I did is I had the open fire, and I heated up some wheel nuts, like wheel nuts off your car. And I heated up the wheel nuts, and then I heated them up in an old hubcap. So I heated them up this hubcap, and then after I got them out of the fire, I picked the wheel nuts up and put them into a billy can. I just dropped them in. And then there were 6 guys there, and I got all 6 of them standing on a line and put their hand out. So everyone put their hand out. So what I would do is I pulled a wheel nut out and I said, okay, hold your hand out, and I dropped a hot wheel nut straight out of the fire into the guy's hand, and he, oh, that hurts, oh, let's shake in the hand. It got red, you could see the red, and they experienced pain. Went to the next one. That was the first guy, the next guy, and the next guy, all the way through, and every one of them, when the hot wheel nut hit the hand, experienced the pain, the hand went red, and went, oh, that's hurting, oh, yeah, that's hurting. And they would shake the hand off. I'd go to the next one and pick it out. When I got to the last guy, I actually dropped a wheel nut in his hand, same story. He did exactly the same as the first 5 did. He flicked his hand, he screamed in pain, he yelled and carried on, and he had a red spot on his hand. He actually had the red spot on his hand, the same as everybody else did, yet I dropped a cold wheel nut on his hand that had never gone into the fire. Interesting point. I made sure that every person in that line was so convinced in their belief system that these wheel nuts were hot. By the time I got to the last guy, he totally believed it as a fact. And when I dropped the cool, wasn't exactly cold, but the cool wheel nut in his hand that never went in the fire, he experienced the same pain and manifested the same red mark. It wasn't as bright as the other guys, but it was still a red mark in his hand, and manifested and experienced the pain and manifested it exactly the same as the others, because his belief system was so powerful. By the time it got to him, he believed that that was a hot wheel nut and it would experience that as a fact. But it wasn't a fact, it was only his belief system. So we can keep going on. I've got other stuff here, talk about limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs is our biggest problem. We believe that this is this and this is that, yet, and when we're training, the instructor, teacher, coach, whatever you want to call them, says do this, and you get to there and you go, oh, I can't do any more. He says, oh, where? They push you, do a little bit more, a little bit more. But when you get to that little bit more, they go, okay, yeah, you've done a good job. That's a limiting belief. No, it's not. You can do more. You can always do more than you actually are doing right now. But we stop early because somebody told us, yeah, that's okay, you're doing a good job. This is the problem. That's great to get the positive affirmations and positive feedback, but you're actually limiting your beliefs because you're believing what somebody else is saying. Do you believe you can do more is what we should be asking ourselves, not to somebody else. So I'll spend a little bit more time on limiting beliefs as we go through, because it ties in with other things we're doing. So, because it actually ties in with the next section that we're doing. So I'll do a little bit more limiting beliefs over there. So now we're going to talk on basic control concepts. We'll go from there, go to the